Nearly 2 billion people on this planet will never taste bacon, ham, or pork chops. Not because they can't afford it. Not because it isn't available. They avoid it completely, on purpose, for their entire lives. For most of them, the reason is simple. God said not to. But over the past century, scientists have looked at pigs more closely than almost any other livestock animal in history. And what they found adds an unexpected layer to a command that's over 400 years old. Let's start with the truth that actually matters most. The primary reason Muslims avoid pork isn't a health calculation. It's obedience. The prohibition appears multiple times in the Quran, always naming the same category of forbidden foods: dead meat, blood, pork, and anything slaughtered while invoking a name other than God. Scholars describe pork specifically as rees, a term usually translated as impure, used in a spiritual sense, not just a physical one. This matters because the ruling doesn't depend on modern science confirming it. A Muslim living in the year 700 had exactly the same obligation to avoid pork as a Muslim does today. The command came first. Understanding, if it comes at all, comes after. And this isn't unique to Islam. The Torah contains a nearly identical prohibition, and Jews have avoided pork under kosher law for even longer. So why pigs specifically? This is where people started looking for answers beyond faith. And whether or not you believe those answers explain the original command, the biology of pigs turns out to be genuinely unusual compared to cattle, sheep, or goats. The most commonly cited argument is trichinosis, a disease caused by a parasite called Trichinella spiralis. For most of human history, this was a real serious risk. Pigs raised in unsanitary conditions could carry it, and undercooked meat would transfer it directly to whoever ate it. Here's the honest picture, though. In countries with modern, tightly controlled pork production, trichinosis in commercial pigs has been reduced to almost nothing. It was a very real historical danger. It's largely a solved problem today, outside of wild boar or unregulated farming. Pork also carries other documented risks. Pigs can carry Hepatitis E virus, linked in some countries to undercooked pork and liver products. They're a known host for Yersinia enterocolytica, and like most raw meat, undercooked pork carries real Salmonella risk if not handled properly. Here's the point that's less talked about, but more scientifically interesting. Pigs are genetically and physiologically closer to humans than most livestock, which is part of why they're used in some medical research. That same closeness is why pigs are considered a uniquely efficient mixing vessel for influenza, capable of being infected by bird flu and human flu strains at once, letting the viruses swap genetic material and produce new strains that can infect humans. Several flu pandemics in modern history trace back to exactly this mechanism. None of that means pork itself gives you the flu, but it does mean the pig as a species sits in a genuinely unusual position in the biology of disease that jumps from animals to humans. Now, a quick honesty check, because a lot of viral content overstates this. You'll often hear that pigs don't sweat, so toxins supposedly build up in their meat. It's true pigs have very limited sweat glands and cool off by wallowing instead, but that's about temperature regulation, not toxins. There isn't solid evidence for that specific claim, and repeating it doesn't actually strengthen the case. So where does this leave us? For a Muslim, the science is genuinely secondary. The command doesn't come with a footnote saying, obey once research confirms it. It's submission to God's guidance, full stop. But it's also not nothing that a species singled out by name in a 7th century text turns out, over 1,000 years later, to have a genuinely unusual relationship with parasites, viral reassortment, and disease compared to other livestock. Whether that's divine wisdom embedded in the command, an early society's practical observation, or coincidence, is a matter of belief, not something a video can settle for you. Nearly 2 billion people build a piece of their daily life around a verse revealed centuries before germ theory even existed. Maybe that's obedience without needing a reason, or maybe it's proof that some instructions carry wisdom long before we're equipped to explain why. If this gave you a clearer picture of both the faith and the science behind it, That's exactly what this channel is here for. Subscribe for more.